The bedroom was dark, silent. Sarah reached for her phone on the nightstand. That's when she felt it. A sharp sting on her wrist, like a needle dipped in acid. She flicked on the light. On her white sheets, a spider the size of a quarter scurried away. Brown body, violin-shaped marking on its back. She didn't know it yet, but the venom was already spreading, necrotizing her flesh from the inside, eating through tissue like invisible fire. Within 6 hours, her wrist would turn black. Within 12, doctors would be discussing amputation. This wasn't a freak accident. It was evolution's mistake, because the deadliest spiders on Earth, they didn't evolve their venom to kill us. We're too big, too complex. Their poison was designed for insects, for prey that weighs less than a gram. But when that same venom hits human tissue, the results are catastrophic. Today, we're counting down the 10 spiders whose evolutionary accidents kill thousands every single year. If you're ready to discover which 8-legged nightmare topped this list, smash the like button and subscribe so you never miss what crawls into your bed next. #10 The Hobo Spider, Eratogena agrestes, Seattle, Washington. October 2019. James Morrison was moving boxes in his garage. He felt something crawl across his neck. Instinct kicked in. He slapped at it. The spider bit down before dying. Within 2 hours, the bite site turned red, then purple, then began to sink inward. The Hobo Spider carries a cytotoxic venom. It destroys cell walls, breaks down tissue at the molecular level. Pain scale, 3 out of 10, but the real horror isn't pain. It's watching your skin die. Necrotic lesions spread outward in a circle. The flesh turns gray, then black. It smells like rot. It looked like something was eating me from underneath my skin, James told reporters. The wound took 4 months to heal, left a scar the size of a silver dollar. Hobo spiders weren't supposed to be in North America. They're European natives. Shipped here accidentally in the 1920s. Now they're everywhere from British Columbia to Utah. They build funnel webs in dark corners, basements, crawl spaces, window wells. Their venom evolved to paralyze small insects, but human tissue reacts differently. The enzymes designed to liquefy a fly's insides, they just keep working on us. Deeper, slower, creating craters in living flesh. #9 The mouse spider Miscelina species, Australia's east coast. 8 species, all venomous, all dangerous. The name is misleading. They don't eat mice. They live in burrows that resemble mouse holes, deep tunnels in hard-packed earth, some reaching 3 feet down. Their venom contains Delta-Hexatoxin, a neurotoxin similar to the funnel web spider's poison. It attacks the nervous system, causes muscle spasms, profuse sweating, difficulty breathing. Pain scale, 4 out of 10, but the symptoms escalate fast. In 2015, a boy in Queensland was bitten while playing in his backyard. Within minutes, his chest felt tight, his fingers started twitching, uncontrollable tremors spread up his arms. His mother called emergency services. The ambulance arrived in 8 minutes. Paramedics administered Antivenom immediately. He survived, but here's the thing about mouse spiders. They're aggressive. Unlike most spiders that flee, they stand their ground, rear up on their hind legs, display their fangs. Fangs that can be up to a centimeter long, strong enough to pierce through fingernails. The males are particularly dangerous during mating season. They wander at night looking for females. That's when humans encounter them in shoes left outside, in garden gloves, under porch furniture. #8 The yellow sac spider Cheracanthium. Inclusum. Every home has them, you just don't see them. Yellow sac spiders are the most common cause of spider bites in North America. Not because they're aggressive, but because they live indoors, right where we sleep. They're small, pale, yellow or beige. They build silken sacs in ceiling corners, behind picture frames, in the folds of curtains. At night, they hunt. They don't build webs to catch prey. They're active predators, wandering across walls, across ceilings, and sometimes across your face while you sleep. The venom is cytotoxic. It causes tissue breakdown, but it also contains a rare compound, one that triggers severe allergic reactions in some people. Pain scale, 4 out of 10 initially. Then it gets worse. The bite site swells, turns hard, forms a white pustule surrounded by red inflammation. Over the next 48 hours, the tissue starts to die, creates an open wound that refuses to heal. Dr. Sarah Chen documented a case in 2018, a patient in Michigan. The bite started as a small red bump, she wrote. Within 3 days, it had become a necrotic ulcer 2 inches wide. The patient required surgical debridement. We had to cut away all the dead tissue. The wound took 7 weeks to close, required skin grafts, left permanent scarring. But here's what makes yellow sac spiders truly dangerous. They're attracted to the smell of gasoline. They crawl into car fuel systems, build nests in fuel lines. This has caused thousands of vehicle recalls and dozens of car fires. Evolution designed their venom for small prey, but it gave them a chemical sensitivity, one that brings them into close contact with humans every single night. But if you think these are bad, wait until you see what's coming, because the spiders we've covered so far, they're just the beginning. The next ones don't just destroy tissue, they attack your blood, your nervous system, your ability to breathe. #7 The Redback Spider Latrodectus Heselti, Australia. 1956. A 10-year-old boy was using an outhouse in rural Victoria. He sat down, felt a sharp sting on his inner thigh. When he looked down, he saw it. Black body with a distinctive red stripe, a redback spider. The pain started immediately, sharp, burning like a hot needle pushed deep into muscle. Pain scale, 6 out of 10. But it was just beginning. Within 15 minutes, the venom reached his lymphatic system. His leg began to swell. The pain spread upward into his groin, his abdomen. He started sweating profusely. His muscles cramped. His back arched involuntarily. He vomited twice before his father found him. The boy survived, but he described the pain as like being burned alive from the inside. Redback venom contains Alpha-Latrotoxin, a neurotoxin that floods nerve endings with neurotransmitters. It causes every pain receptor in the affected area to fire simultaneously, continuously for hours. The technical term is latrodectism. The symptoms are brutal. Severe muscle pain, chest tightness, abdominal rigidity, hypertension, nausea, profuse sweating. In severe cases, respiratory failure. Before Antivenom was developed in 1956, redback bites killed regularly. 13 confirmed deaths in Australia alone. Most were children or elderly victims. Today, over 2,000 people are bitten annually in Australia, many requiring hospitalization. The antivenom works, but it's not perfect. Some patients experience symptoms for weeks: chronic pain, muscle weakness, psychological trauma. Redbacks live everywhere, humans do. Under deck chairs, in mailboxes, under toilet seats, behind outdoor furniture. The females are the dangerous ones. The males are too small to penetrate human skin, but the females, their fangs are strong enough, long enough, hungry enough. Number 6. Chilean Recluse luxocelis, Laida, Santiago, Chile. March 2017. Maria Gonzalez woke up with a headache. She thought it was the flu. Then she noticed a bite mark on her shoulder, small, 2 puncture wounds barely visible. By afternoon, her temperature spiked to 104 degrees. The bite site turned dark purple. The skin around it felt hard, like wood. She went to the emergency room. The doctor took one look and knew Loxoceles lita, the most dangerous recluse spider in the world. Pain scale 7 out of 10, but pain wasn't Maria's biggest problem. The venom was destroying her blood cells, hemolytic anemia. Her red blood cells were literally rupturing, spilling hemoglobin into her bloodstream, turning her urine dark brown, almost black. Her kidneys were failing. The medical team started her on intravenous fluids immediately, corticosteroids to reduce inflammation, blood transfusions to replace destroyed cells. Meanwhile, the bite site was necrotizing. The skin turned black, sank inward, created a crater 3 inches wide. The flesh underneath was liquefying. Surgeons had to remove it. All of it. Dead tissue, damaged muscle, down to the bone in some places. Maria spent 2 weeks in intensive care, required for surgeries, 3 months of physical therapy. She still can't lift her right arm above her shoulder. Chilean recluse venom contains sphingomyelinase D. It's a dermonecrotic agent. It destroys cell membranes, breaks down connective tissue, triggers massive inflammation, but it also causes systemic effects. Visceral locks. The venom spreads through the bloodstream, attacks organs. Kidneys fail first, then liver, then the cascade begins. Disseminated intravascular coagulation, blood clots forming throughout the body, bleeding from everywhere at once. Multiple organ failure, death. In South America, Chilean recluse bites cause dozens of deaths annually. Most victims are children, bitten in their beds while sleeping. The spiders hunt at night. They're attracted to warmth, to the carbon dioxide we exhale. They crawl under blankets, into pillows, under clothing left on the floor. We call them corner spiders. Dr. Andres Torquer explained in a 2019 interview. They hide in every dark space in Chilean homes, behind furniture, in closets, under beds. You cannot eliminate them completely. You can only try to coexist. But coexistence means accepting the risk. One careless moment, one spider in the wrong place, one bite and your life changes forever. Number 5. The Sydney funnelweb Atrax robustus. The name alone strikes fear in Australians. Sydney funnelweb Atrax robustus, the most aggressive spider on Earth. Danny Williams learned this in February 2021. He was clearing brush in his backyard in suburban Sydney. He lifted a piece of wood. The spider was underneath, massive, over 2 inches long, glossy black, fangs visible. It didn't run. It attacked. Reared up, fangs extended. It struck his hand twice, like hypodermic needles punching through skin. The pain was immediate. Sharp, electric. Pain scale 7 out of 10. Danny dropped the wood. The spider held on, fangs locked into his flesh. He had to shake it off. Violently, it hit the ground and prepared to strike again. Danny ran. Smart move, because within 5 minutes the symptoms started. Muscle twitching around the bite, numbness spreading up his arm, excessive salivation. His tongue felt thick, heavy, his vision blurred, his heart rate spiked to 160 beats per minute. His wife drove him to the hospital, 8-minute drive. By the time they arrived, he was struggling to breathe. Paramedics administered the antivenom immediately, 4 vials. His symptoms began to stabilize within 20 minutes, but he wasn't out of danger yet. Funnel web venom contains Delta-Hexatoxin, a neurotoxin that targets the human nervous system specifically. It causes uncontrolled firing of neurons, Massive release of neurotransmitters. Every muscle contracts simultaneously. The diaphragm spasms. Breathing becomes impossible. Blood pressure skyrockets. Fluid fills the lungs. Pulmonary edema. Before Antivenom was developed in 1981, funnel web bites killed within hours. 13 recorded deaths, all of them horrific. Victims conscious but unable to breathe, drowning in their own fluids. The male spiders are 6 times more venomous than females. During mating season, they wander looking for females. They enter homes, fall into swimming pools, hide in shoes, under towels. They can survive underwater for 24 hours. Trapped in a pool, they become more aggressive, ready to bite anything that touches them. Danny spent 3 days in the hospital. Full recovery took 2 weeks, but he still has nightmares. About the spider, about the fangs, about how close he came. And here's the terrifying part. Sydney funnel webs live in one of the most populated areas of Australia. Over 5 million people, all sharing space with the world's deadliest spider. But if you think that's the worst evolution has created, you haven't seen anything yet. Because the next spiders don't just cause pain, they cause something far worse. Number 4. The six-eyed sand spider. Sicarius hani, the Kalahari Desert. 2014. Dr. Robert Mitchell was conducting field research, studying scorpion behavior in southern Botswana. He knelt in the sand, setting up a collection trap. His bare hand pressed down for balance. Something moved beneath his palm. He felt the bite instantly, 2 fangs deep, injecting venom directly into the soft tissue between his thumb and forefinger. He looked down. The spider was nearly invisible, covered in sand particles. 6 eyes arranged in 3 pairs. Sicarius hani, the six-eyed sand spider. Pain scale, 8 out of 10. But pain was just the beginning. Within an hour, his hand began to swell. The tissue turned dark, purple-black, like a massive bruise spreading. But it wasn't bruising, it was necrosis, and something worse. The venom contains Cytotoxin, a hemolytic and necrotoxic compound. It ruptures blood vessels, destroys red blood cells, causes massive internal bleeding. Dr. Mitchell was helicoptered to Gaborone 3-hour flight. By the time he arrived, the bleeding had spread. Under his skin, blood pooling in his forearm. His hand had swollen to twice its normal size. The skin was tight, shiny, ready to split open. Doctors performed emergency fasciotomy, cutting deep incisions to relieve pressure. Blood poured out. Dark, thick, mixed with liquefied tissue. There is no antivenom for Sicarius bites, no treatment protocol, just supportive care and hope. Dr. Mitchell lost function in 2 fingers. The tissue damage was too severe, nerves destroyed, tendons damaged beyond repair. He considers himself lucky because, in laboratory tests, Sicarius venom has killed rabbits in 5 hours. The toxin is more potent than any recluse spider, more destructive than most snake venoms. It's designed to liquefy prey from the inside, to turn solid tissue into digestible soup, and it works just as well on humans. The spider buries itself in sand, completely hidden, only its eyes exposed, waiting, patient for something to come within striking range. Number 3. The northern tree funnel web, Hadronish formidabilis, Queensland, Australia. January 2018. 10-year-old Jacob Foster was climbing a tree in his backyard. A Moreton Bay fig. Massive trunk, low branches, perfect for climbing. He reached for a handhold in the bark. His fingers slipped into a crevice. The spider was waiting inside. It bit down on his index finger, once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. Jacob screamed, fell 6 feet to the ground. His father came running. Jacob was already showing symptoms, muscle twitching in his arm, excessive sweating, tears streaming down his face, not from crying. The venom causes uncontrollable lacrimation. They were in the car within 2 minutes, racing to the nearest hospital, 17 kilometers away. Jacob's condition deteriorated in the back seat. His breathing became labored, shallow. His lips turned blue. His body went rigid. Full body muscle spasms. His father called emergency services. Ambulance met them halfway. Paramedics intubated Jacob on the roadside. Artificial breathing. His lungs had stopped working. The venom had paralyzed his diaphragm. They administered 12 vials of emergency protocol. His heart rate was 180, blood pressure 200/130. He was having a hypertensive crisis, stroke risk, brain hemorrhage risk. The medical team fought for his life for 4 hours. Pain scale, 9 out of 10. But Jacob couldn't tell them he was paralyzed, conscious but unable to move, unable to speak, unable to breathe, trapped inside his own body, feeling everything. He survived. But the recovery took months. Neurological damage, muscle weakness, PTSD from the experience. Northern tree funnel webs are even more dangerous than their Sydney cousins. Their venom is more concentrated, more neurotoxic. They live in trees, in bark crevices, in roof spaces, anywhere dark and elevated. They drop onto victims from above, bite multiple times, inject massive doses of venom. Before Antivenom, a bite from Hadronish formidabilis was essentially a death sentence. Now it's just a nightmare you might survive. Number 2. The brown widow, Latrodectus geometricus, Tampa, Florida. August 2020. Sandra Chen was gardening, pulling weeds from beneath her porch. She felt something on her neck, brushed at it. The spider bit her jaw, Just below her ear, she saw it fall into the grass, tan-colored orange hourglass on its abdomen, a brown widow. She'd heard they were less dangerous than black widows. She was wrong. Pain scale, 9 out of 10. The venom hit fast. Within minutes, her jaw locked, tetanus-like muscle contractions, her neck muscles spasmed so hard she couldn't turn her head. The pain radiated down her spine, into her chest. Her abdomen became rigid, board-like. She couldn't breathe deeply. Each breath was agony. Her husband called 911. By the time paramedics arrived, Sandra was in crisis. Her blood pressure was dangerously high, 220/140. Her heart rate was erratic. She was having cardiac arrhythmias. The venom was attacking her cardiovascular system. At the hospital, they administered Latrodectus Antivenom, but her body rejected it. Severe allergic reaction, anaphylaxis. Now she had 2 life-threatening conditions. The medical team had to choose, treat the venom effects or the allergic reaction. They chose the reaction. Epinephrine, antihistamines, corticosteroids, and let the venom run its course. Sandra spent 9 days in intensive care. The muscle spasms continued for 72 hours. Wave after wave of cramping so severe she fractured a rib, her own muscles breaking her bones. The pain didn't fully subside for 3 weeks. She lost 15 pounds, couldn't eat solid food. Her throat muscles were too damaged. Brown widow venom is twice as potent as black widow venom, milliliter for milliliter, drop for drop. The myth that they're less dangerous comes from one fact. They inject less venom per bite, usually, but when they inject a full dose, the results are catastrophic, and they're spreading, originally from South Africa, now found in 23 US states. Australia, Japan, the Middle East. They're adapting, thriving in urban environments. Under patio furniture, in door frames, behind shutters. In children's playhouses, evolution gave them venom to hunt insects. But it's strong enough to kill mammals 1,000 times their size, strong enough to cause pain so severe that victims beg for death. Sandra still has nightmares, still checks every surface before touching it, still feels phantom pains in her jaw, but her experience, it's nothing compared to what's coming, because there's one spider, one species, that kills more humans than all the others combined. One spider whose evolutionary mistake has become humanity's nightmare. Number 1. The Brazilian wandering spider Phenutria fera. Manaus, Brazil, April 2016, 3 in the morning. Carlos Mendez reached into a bunch of bananas in his kitchen. He was a dock worker, had just returned from a night shift, hungry, tired. His fingers touched something soft. Harry the spider exploded out of the fruit, 8 inches across. Legs spanned the size of a dinner plate. It lunged at his hand, bit down on his palm. The fangs penetrated deep, half an inch into muscle tissue. Carlos screamed. The pain was instantaneous, excruciating beyond anything he'd ever experienced. Pain scale, 10 out of 10. But that was just the start. Within 30 seconds, his entire arm felt like it was on fire, burning from the inside. The venom was spreading through his bloodstream. Phenutria fera, the Brazilian wandering spider, also called the banana spider, or the armed spider. Guinness World Records named it the most venomous spider on Earth, and Carlos was learning why. His heart began racing 160 beats per minute. Tachycardia so severe he could hear his heartbeat in his ears. His blood pressure spiked, his vision blurred. He started sweating profusely, soaking through his shirt in seconds. Then came the nausea, violent, uncontrollable. He vomited again. His wife called the ambulance, but they lived 40 minutes from the nearest hospital. 40 minutes in hell. Carlos's muscles began to spasm. His back arched, his legs kicked involuntarily. He couldn't control his body. The venom contains PHTX3, a neurotoxin that causes massive release of neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, acetylcholine, all flooding his nervous system at once. Every nerve firing, every pain receptor screaming. By the time the ambulance arrived, Carlos was in respiratory distress. His diaphragm was spasming. He couldn't breathe properly. His lips were turning blue, hypoxia setting in. Paramedics intubated him in his living room, started for fluids. Administered pain medication, morphine. It barely touched the pain. At the hospital, the medical team knew they had minutes, not hours. Minutes. Phenutria venom can cause pulmonary edema, fluid in the lungs, drowning from the inside, cardiac arrest, shock, death. They administered Antivenom 10 vials, more than any other spider bite requires. But Carlos's symptoms weren't stopping. His erection had become painful. Priapism, a known side effect of Phenutria venom. The neurotoxins cause blood to flood the erectile tissue and stay there for hours. It's not just embarrassing, it's agonizing. It can cause permanent damage. Tissue death, impotence. But that was the least of Carlos's problems. His organs were starting to fail. His kidneys weren't filtering properly. His liver enzymes were spiking. The venom was destroying cells throughout his body. He spent 6 days in intensive care. The first 2 on a ventilator. The pain didn't subside for 96 hours. For full days of agony. Even with maximum pain medication, even with Antivenom. When he finally went home, he couldn't work for 3 months. Nerve damage in his hand, chronic pain, panic attacks every time he saw a spider. Any spider. Carlos was lucky. He got treatment fast. He received Antivenom. He survived. But Brazilian wandering spiders kill dozens every year, mostly children, mostly in rural areas, far from hospitals, far from antivenom. The spiders don't build webs, they wander, hence the name. They roam forest floors at night, hunting actively, but they also wander into human spaces, homes, sheds, vehicles, cargo ships. They hide in banana bunches, in boxes of produce, in shipping containers. That's how they spread globally. Found in supermarkets in Europe, in grocery stores in the United States, in warehouses in Asia. In 2014, a family in London found one in their Tesco bananas. In 2018, one emerged from fruit in a Swedish daycare. In 2021, one was discovered in a shipment to Tokyo. They're everywhere now, and they're aggressive. Unlike most spiders that flee from humans, wandering spiders attack. They rear up on their hind legs, display their fangs, strike repeatedly, inject venom with each bite. Dr. Paulo Barbosa has studied Phenutria for 30 years. People think evolution made a mistake with these spiders, he said in a 2022 interview, that their venom is too strong for their prey. But I disagree. Their venom is perfect for what they hunt: large insects, small vertebrates, frogs, lizards. The problem is humans. We're not their prey, we're their threat. And when threatened, they use everything they have. The venom evolved over millions of years. Fine-tuned, perfected, a cocktail of neurotoxins and cytotoxins designed to incapacitate prey instantly, to kill quickly, efficiently. But when that same venom hits a human, the dosage is all wrong. Too strong to just hurt. Not quite strong enough to kill instantly, so instead it tortures. For hours, sometimes days. It's not evolution's mistake, it's evolution's perfect weapon, deployed against the wrong target. And as climate change pushes these spiders into new territories, as global shipping moves them across continents, as human populations expand into their habitats, the encounters are increasing. 2,000 medically significant bites per year in Brazil alone, hundreds more worldwide and rising. Because Phenutria fera doesn't just hide in bananas, it hides anywhere dark, anywhere quiet. Your garage, your garden shed, your pile of firewood, under your deck, in your child's toy box left outside. It's waiting, patient, armed with venom that can drop a grown man in seconds. Venom that causes pain so intense that victims lose consciousness. Not from the venom itself, but from the sheer overwhelming agony. The human brain simply shuts down. Evolution didn't make a mistake with the Brazilian wandering spider. It created the perfect predator. We just had the misfortune of getting in its way. But what if I told you there's something even worse lurking in the shadows? Something that makes these spider bites feel like a paper cut. Something with venom so deadly that a single drop could kill 100 men. Click the video on screen. Giant spiders that hunt like tigers ambush predators of nature, because what you just witnessed, that was just the beginning.